Greetings, dear friends, and welcome to Stillness Unfolded. Imagine a river at dusk, water whispering as it carries time away. You look back at your path, dreams chased, treasures hoarded. But as the sun sets, a question stirs: what if the truths you need most dawn too late, after 70? Tonight, we unveil 9 Buddhist truths you'll know too late after 70, do you, through Enlak's journey. One truth hides a secret so simple it could shift your now. In a mountain village, Enlak, 70 winters wise, learned late what she shares today, a tale woven with my reflections to guide us. This video is a treasure chest of insights, so stay with me to the end, every word counts. If you feel the spark, hit that like button, subscribe to Stillness Unfolded, and drop your thoughts below. Your voice helps us grow, bringing more stories like this to light. Now, let's step into Enlak's world. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Lantern 1, the illusion of status. Enlak once lived for the clinking of coins that rang like temple bells and the murmurs of admiration that floated like incense through the village market. Her fingers, nimble as young sparrows, danced tirelessly over the loom, weaving silk so fine it caught the dawn's first light, shimmering like the river under a crescent moon. She dreamed of a day when her name would ripple through the valley, not just Enlak, but the silk weaver of the valley, a title she polished in her mind like a rare gem. Each nod from a passing merchant, each hushed word of praise from a buyer, stretched her shadow taller across the dusty paths. Yet one evening, as twilight painted the sky in hues of ash and amber, a storm roared down from the mountains, its whines a furious monk tearing her loom to splinters, her silk scattered like fallen leaves across the sodden earth. The village turned away, their eyes seeking fresher marvels, their voices fading into the wind's howl. Sitting amidst the wreckage, Enlak traced a broken thread with trembling fingers, her breath catching as she saw, status was a fragile weave, a tapestry of dreams undone by life's smallest gust. Buddhism teaches that clinging to impermanent things, titles, roles, the fleeting applause of others, plants seeds of sorrow in the garden of the mind. I've walked this shadowed path myself. Years ago, I chased the mantle of expert, stacking hours like bricks in a tower, believing it built the walls of my worth. When I paused, expecting the world to hold its breath in reverence, it simply exhaled and turned its gaze to brighter stars. The truth isn't to shun ambition's call, but to see it as a guest who lingers briefly at our table, not the master who owns our home. Enlak rose from her ruin, her hands no longer threading silk for glory, but guiding the village children to weave simple patterns, not for fame, but for the spark in their eyes, the joy in their clumsy stitches. Her legacy wasn't a name etched in stone or whispered in marketplaces, but the warmth of shared laughter echoing through the years, a quiet hymn to kindness. What titles do you hold tightly today, dear friend? Are they chains or wings? Perhaps it's time to let them drift like clouds across an endless sky. Lantern 2, the freedom beyond opinions. In her youth, Enlak adorned herself in robes dyed with saffron and indigo, each fold a silent prayer to please the village wives who watched her like hawks from their porches. She stepped into every festival with the grace of a crane crossing still waters, her heart trembling at the thought of their whispers, sharp as thorns, soft as secrets. She shaped her words like clay on a potter's wheel, smoothed her movements to mirror their approving nods, fearing a single misstep would shatter the fragile reflection she'd built in their eyes. But by 70, her feet sank barefoot into the cool, yielding mud of the rice fields, her laughter mingling with the children's as they planted seeds under a sky heavy with gray promise. The voices that once loomed like storm clouds had faded. Some wives now rested beneath the earth's gentle embrace, others wandered lost in their own tangled worries, their minds a maze of restless echoes. And Lack saw their judgments were never hers to carry, they were but shadows cast by their own flickering lanterns, not truths carved in the stone of her soul. The Buddha spoke of anatta, the whisper that no fixed self bends beneath the weight of others' gaze, a teaching as vast as the sky above the pagoda. I recall a season when I feared every critique, trimming my voice to fit the molds others cast, my tongue a prisoner to their whims. Then a friend, wise as the wind through bamboo, said, "People don't dwell on you, they re-lost in their own storms." It struck like lightning through a fog of doubt, splitting my chains asunder. Our shackles are often illusions we forge in the fires of our own fears. And Lack shed hers not with a shout of defiance, but with a quiet turning away, dancing in the rain as her gray hair flew free, a wild banner of liberty, her heart tethered only to the moment's unshackled joy. Picture her there, unbowed by eyes that no longer see, her steps a rhythm of release. Tell me, dear listener, what opinion binds you still, a thread too tight around your spirit? Share it below, let's unravel it together and step into the rain's embrace. Lantern 3, The Weight of Grudges. In an Lack's village lived Duke, a rice farmer with hands rough as the earth he tilled and eyes sharp as the sickle he wielded. One autumn, when the harvest moon hung low and golden, he stole her rice, bundles she'd sweated under the sun to reap, claiming them as his own to barter at market. For years, Lack carried that betrayal like a stone lodged deep in her chest, its weight pressing with every breath, her eyes narrowing across the fields where he bent to his work. Each glare fed the fire within, each memory his sly grin, the empty barn sharpened the edge of her pain, a blade she honed in silence. But time bent her knees, grayed her hair, and one day she saw Duke hobbling too, his back curved under age's quiet burden, his steps faltering like hers. That evening, she wove a basket from river reeds, filled it with rice from her own meager store, and left it at his door a silent offering beneath the stars. He found it at dawn, tears tracing his weathered face as he knelt. She wept too behind her own wall, and the stone melted into the wind, leaving her lighter than she'd been in decades. The Buddha taught that anger is a cold grasp to harm another, yet it sears only the hand that holds it, a truth as old as the sutras chanted in dim-lit halls. I've clutched such coals myself, replaying wounds like an old monk chanting a faded sutra, each verse a loop of bitterness. But forgiveness, I learned, isn't a gift to the offender, it's a key turned in our own lock, a door swung wide to freedom. And Lack didn't erase Duck's theft, didn't rewrite the past, but she released herself from its chains, her heart no longer a prisoner to memory. Imagine an old man by the river's edge, tossing pebbles of bitterness into the current, watching them vanish beneath the ripples, his shoulders lifting with each release. That's the peace we can claim, a balm for the soul's quiet ache. What grudge presses heavy on your heart, a burden you've carried too long? Leave it in the comments, let's cast it into the stream together and breathe lighter today. Lantern 4, The Emptiness of Possessions. and lack once filled her home with treasures that gleamed like stars trapped in wood and stone, jade statues of cranes poised in mid-flight, silk tapestries stitched with lotus blooms unfurling in eternal spring, a chest carved with dragons coiled around clouds, brimming with coins that clinked like a merchant's promise. Each prize sparked a fleeting thrill, a flicker of joy that danced in her chest, only to dim as quickly as a lantern snuffed by the wind, leaving her reaching for more, a bigger statue, a richer cloth, a heavier chest. By 70, her home shrank to a humble hut, a mat to sit on the packed earth, a clay pot to simmer rice, a wooden bowl chipped at the edge. Yet her smile stretched wide as the horizon, cradling her grandchildren as their laughter wove a tapestry richer than silk, more enduring than jade, their small hands brushing her wrinkles with a warmth no coin could buy. Buddhism whispers of anaxa, all things fade, rust, crumble into dust, a chant as constant as the turning of prayer wheels. I once coveted a watch, its ticking a badge of triumph, its gleam a mirror of success, until it stilled one rainy afternoon and revealed itself as mere metal and glass, not the heartbeat of meaning. And lack learned true wealth lies in the fleeting gifts we too often overlook, the steam rising from warm rice like a monk's breath in winter, the chatter of small voices weaving stories into the air. Here's a thought to ponder, a seed planted in silence. The fourth thing silently revealing what we truly seek is the space we leave for others, something so simple we overlook its depth, a void more precious than gold. Her treasures weren't locked in chests or hung on walls, but alive in the eyes that met hers, the hands that clasped her own. What possession do you prize most, a thing you polish and guard? Is it worth more than a moment shared with a friend, a laugh echoing through the dusk? Lantern 5, The Myth of Perfection. And lack harbored a dream as delicate as a spider's web to paint the mountains that cradled her village, their peaks piercing the clouds like silent monks in meditation, their slopes a cascade of green and gray. But she waited, her heart trembling at the thought of faltering brush strokes, colors that might bleed into chaos instead of harmony. She gathered brushes, mixed pigments, yet left her canvas a barren field, fearing her hands would betray her vision. Years slipped by like sand through an open palm, her dream a ghost haunting the edges of her days. One stormy night, as thunder rolled like a drum across the valley and rain lashed her roof, she seized a stick from the hearth and scratched lines in the mud beyond her door, crooked ridges, wild swirls of earth and water blending into a jagged hymn. Soaked to the bone, she laughed, the rain washing her fears into the soil, and saw beauty not in perfection, but in the raw pulse of creation itself, the act of daring to begin. Zen offers wabi-sabi, the grace of flaws, a cracked bowl holding tea, a trembling note rising from a flute, a life unpolished yet alive with spirit. I've delayed my own art, awaiting flawless words that shimmer like polished jade, only to find they never arrive, lost in the mist of hesitation. Life isn't a statue to carve with precise chisels, it's a river to swim, its currents wild and free. And lack danced with her grandchildren under that same stormy sky, her steps uneven, her giggles a melody of release, no longer bound by the ghost of should be. Picture her there, mud streaking her hands, joy painting her face brighter than any canvas. Stop waiting for the perfect stroke, the faultless moment begin now, in all your glorious imperfection. What dream have you shelved for fear of flaws, a seed unplanted in your heart? Lantern 6, The Fleeting Breath of Time. and Lack always believed time stretched endless before her, a ribbon unfurling across the seasons to visit her sister across the valley, her voice a balm for lonely nights, to sing by the fire with her husband, their notes weaving a duet, to rest beneath the banyan tree, its branches a cradle for her weary bones. But her sister's breath ceased one frost-bitten dawn, the fire turned to ash in an untended hearth, and rest slipped beyond her grasp like smoke through clenched fists. At 70, she sat by the river, its ceaseless flow a mirror to moments lost, each ripple a sigh of what might have been. She lifted her voice then, singing to the water, her notes quivering like leaves in the breeze, her throat tight with years of silence, yet alive with the stubborn will to claim this day, refusing to let another slip into the current unsung. Time moves like a thief in the night, its footsteps silent, its hands swift, stealing what we swear to reclaim with a casual tomorrow. I've whispered that word too often, letting calls to friends fade into dusk, dreams of ink and paper yellow on the shelf, always trusting the next sunrise would wait. Buddhism reminds us the present is our only coin, the only breath we can spend, the future a shadow we cannot hold, the past a sutra already chanted. And Lack's song wasn't grand, wasn't rehearsed, but it was hers, woven into the fabric of this fleeting now, a thread of defiance against time's relentless tide. Don't wager on someday, don't barter with a clock that never pauses. Seize this breath, this heartbeat. What will you do before the sun dips below the horizon tonight, before the river carries this moment away? Lantern 7, the Temple of Health. In her prime, and Lack wove through moonlit nights, her loom a relentless companion, her stomach empty save for the gnawing hunger of ambition, her aches ignored like distant thunder too faint to heed. She built a trade that swelled like the river in monsoon, silk piling high in her barn, her name a whisper of prosperity. But by 70, her body bowed under the weight of those years, her back a crooked branch snapped by time, her breath a shallow stream trickling through a parched throat. A healer, her hands gentle as lotus petals unfolding at dawn, sat with her beneath the thatch and said, "You can nurture what remains, coax life from what still grows, but not summon what's lost to the wind." And Lack turned to her garden then, planting herbs with slow, deliberate care, her fingers tracing the soil like a prayer, each step a quiet hymn to the strength she could still cradle. Mindfulness of the body is a Buddhist hymn, a chant that calls our flesh a temple fragile as clay, sacred as the stupa crowned with gold. I've traded rest for toil, burned midnight oil until my eyes blurred and my limbs groaned, only to stumble later in a fog of weariness, paying a debt I didn't know I'd accrued. Health isn't a gift to defer, a luxury for later days, it's the root of all else, the earth beneath our feet. And Lack found riches in a steady pulse, a hand that could still dig, a breath that rose and fell without strain. Picture her kneeling in the dirt, sunlight kissing her silver hair, her body a vessel she now tends with reverence. Tend your temple today, it's the home you cannot leave, the foundation of every step. What small act will you offer your body now, a gesture of care before the day fades? Lantern 8, the heart of connection. And Lack's husband, Min, waited each evening, a lantern lit by the door, its glow a beacon through the dusk, his eyes tracing the path she rarely walked. But her loom kept her bound, its rhythm a master she couldn't defy, her hands too busy threading silk to hold his. Her children grew tall in her absence, their faces turning to the world beyond her walls, Her friends' voices dimmed, their invitations unanswered until they ceased. By 70, Min's light had faded, his chair empty, and silence roared louder than her threads ever had, a hollow song of absence. She sought her children then, brewing tea from mountain leaves, spinning tales of her youth beneath the stars, stitching bonds she'd let fray with the patience of a weaver mending a torn cloth. Love, she learned, outshines every woven glory, its threads stronger than the finest silk, deeper than the deepest dye. The Buddha taught that connection is our shelter, a lotus blooming and withering in the same breath. People are not stones to stand forever, but flames to tend while they burn. I've lost souls to time's quiet march, friends whose laughter I meant to hear again, words unsaid cutting deeper than any knife through my regret. And Lak's treasure became her children's laughter, their hands in hers a tapestry no storm could unravel. Picture her at the table, the steam of tea curling between them, her heart no longer adrift but anchored in their presence. Don't let busyness steal your heart, don't let the loom of life spin you away. Reach out today, hold close what matters. Who will you cherish before this day ends, before their light slips beyond the horizon? Lantern 9, The Inner Flame. And Lak sought joy in coins that clinked like promises, in praise that swelled like a festival drum, in shelves heavy with things, vases of porcelain, robes embroidered with cranes, trinkets that glittered in the sun. Each chase lifted her spirit, a kite soaring on a gust, only to crash when the wind died, leaving her scouring the earth for the next lift. But at 70, stirring soup in her sparse kitchen, steam curling like incense around her wrinkled hands, she felt a quiet glow. No gold adorned her fingers, no crowd sang her name, just the moment's warmth seeping into her bones. A monk once pressed a bamboo cup into her palms, his eyes deep as still ponds, and said, "Happiness isn't chased through the forest, it's uncovered in the clearing of your own heart." Sipping tea as plain as the earth, she saw it had waited within all along, a flame needing no fuel but presence. Happiness is a flame we cradle, not a prize to hunt across distant hills, a truth as simple as a breath, as vast as the Dharma itself. I've run after milestones, scaled peaks of achievement, only to find hollow echoes at the summit, my hands empty of peace. Joy hides in the small, the overlooked, the rustle of leaves in a morning breeze, the scent of coffee brewing at dawn, a friend's voice threading through the quiet. And Lak lived it, stirring her pot, her heart full without a single coin to weigh it. Picture her there, the flicker of her stove a mirror to the light within, her smile a sutra of contentment. Stop seeking beyond the horizon, feel it now, in this breath, this beat. What small spark lights your day, a glow you've passed by too long? Time flows like a river, relentless and swift. And Lak's 9 lanterns shine through 9 Buddhist truths you'll know too late after 70, do you, urging us to see now what she grasped late. Love, presence, peace, these endure beyond regret. This is Stillness Unfolded, and I'm grateful you've joined me. Share this with someone dear, and if these truths strike you, like, subscribe, and tell me below which hit deepest. Your comments shape our journey, bringing more wisdom to light. It's a rich tapestry. Did you catch it all? Rewatch if needed, and let's kindle our lanterns together. Until next time, may your path glow clear.